Hello, my name is Dave Lipscomb, and what I'm going to do today is show you and explain to you what this set of videos is that I've created and that I'm creating is, and why these are could be useful for you or for your children. Uh, so this video is kind of like an overview. 99% of the videos will be useful videos that will give content to you, teach you the lessons, the math lessons in 8th grade Eureka Math, and give you lots of examples and such, and hopefully give you some extra help should you miss class or not understand exactly how your teacher's teaching you math, just as an adjunct, a help to the Eureka Math curriculum. So what I'm going to do today is I want to do three things. I want to teach you why me, why should you listen to me. Number two is why these videos, what's special about the content of these videos. And number three, why I'm doing it specifically on YouTube. So, and I'm going to kind of guide you through it maybe in the same way that I teach a lesson. So as you watch me do this overview, the lessons will be taught using similar technology. So I'm going to be doing some screen switching and so use a drawing pad, and hopefully you can follow along pretty well, and what I'm trying to do makes sense to you. So the first thing I want to say is, again, what are we doing? We are going to say, I want to tell you why me, why these videos, and why YouTube. This is the point of today's lecture, or explanation. So why me? My name is Dave Lipscomb. I am a California credentialed math teacher. That's for those of you in the know, that's a single subject teacher. And I specifically am allowed to, with my credential, I can teach through calculus. I can actually teach you, I'm qualified to teach calculus class. Further, I have chosen, though, to teach 7th and 8th grade math, and I am a 7th and 8th. I sat in the classroom for 4 years. I did computer science, and I started a few companies, and after reaching the age of about 40, 45, I decided that I was going to start a second career, and I'm doing that teaching. And so I've been teaching 7th and 8th grade math for 4 years, and specifically 3 years of Eureka Math, which is a curriculum, also known as, to some of you, as Engage New York. Engage New York. This is that, this is the thing that, Louis C.K., he makes fun of this. He makes fun of Engage New York. So that might be another way that you've heard of this curriculum. But this curriculum is actually a very good curriculum. Louis C.K. doesn't really know exactly what he's talking about. And as I go through a lot of these videos, I'll kind of maybe allude to that or explain it to you. Louis C.K., what he's doing is he's making fun of individual teachers that maybe don't know so much what they're doing, or he's mocking tests that are given in the classroom. But what he's not, and really what I'm doing is addressing some of the things. He's making a few valid points, and so hopefully I address a number of those with these videos. Okay, that said, why are 7th and 8th grade kids interesting to me? Because 7th and 8th graders are building their algebra skills, or building their algebra and pre-algebra skills. And these are the key building. They're building their algebra and pre-algebra skills, which are their core fundamental building blocks for all future mathematics. There's almost no mathematics that doesn't require solid algebra skills. And even life, for the most part, if you're doing math in real life, you're either doing you're using algebra, maybe some geometry, maybe some statistics, but algebra is really the core piece of math that all people in the 21st century certainly need to understand. And I want to also build confidence. If you leave 7th and 8th grade math and you get into high school with confidence, you will be successful in math. And I truly believe that. There's a lot of research out there that teaches that. I will talk about that in many of my videos, but I know that your math ability can change depending upon your confidence and your effort in math. So this is why me. This is a little bit about my belief, a little bit about my background, why I'm qualified. And I've seen, so this is that piece. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about why these videos, and I'll show you specifically some examples, but why these videos? So let's get into that. Because I've been teaching Eureka Math for 3 years, I know that there's a few gaps in the curriculum. I love the curriculum from the perspective of the order that it teaches things, the way that it builds, the way that each lesson builds on the prior lesson, the way that each unit builds on the prior unit, the way that it helps foster critical thinking in students. However, there are a few problems with the curriculum as I see it, and maybe you don't see that, but if you see these problems, then you can nod your head and you can see that maybe these videos are for you. So this addresses problems with Eureka Math. And again, Engage New York is 99% the same as Eureka Math. Eureka Math was created for New York. New York rebranded, recalled it Engage New York, but it is the same. It's almost the exact same problems, the same order, the same words, the same sheets as Eureka Math. So here are the problems that I see with Eureka Math. There are, and I'll show you these in a second. There are a lack of worked examples. And so these videos will provide you with worked example. Number 2, it doesn't show you the steps for working problems. So if you're solving the quadratic formula and you don't have a list of steps, you may have a hard time, if you didn't take good notes in class, being able to do your homework. Now, math isn't just a set of steps that you memorize and then execute over and over again. I understand that. But in 7th and 8th grade, having the steps can help unlock mathematical and procedural fluency for you. And it can also allow your parents to help you with your homework, or parents for you to help your students with their homework. So I'm going to give the steps for working the problems in addition to a number of work examples that use those steps. Number 3, I'm going to connect the lesson to the homework problems. HW equals homework problems. So how often do you, in Eureka Math, go through a whole lesson, think you got it, and you hit these homework problems, and they don't seem to have anything to do with the lesson at hand? Well, I'm going to tell you that almost always they do connect, but I'm going to help build that bridge for you. And then number 4, sometimes you just need an alternate explanation for how to do things. So the way I explain things is sometimes different than how your teacher may have done it. And now maybe I'm worse or maybe I'm better. If I'm worse, you don't have to take my explanation as the way to do something. But if I explain something a little bit differently, it may actually help you learn. So these are kind of the things that the purpose of why I built these videos, to address these given problems. Now, I'm going to show you some of this in a second, but let me just go to quickly why YouTube. So why YouTube? 1, it's because you are familiar with it. Almost all students that I know, 7th and 8th graders and adults, know how to use YouTube, and it's ubiquitous. You know, it's always up. It's a phenomenal technology. You can pause. You can watch whenever you want. You can zoom it. You can, make full screen. You can put it on your headphones. You can listen to it on the subway. You can listen to it, in your bedroom. You can listen to it when other people are around with headphones on. Whatever you want. You understand. You understand my point. What if if you miss class? If you miss class, you're good. You can watch my explanation. 3, if you fell asleep, what if you fell asleep in class? That happens. I mean, if you have, what if you have, if you have 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, who doesn't get sleepy at 1 or 2 in the afternoon? I do. So maybe if you have that class, you just need to watch, at 7 o'clock p.m. after dinner. Maybe that's what you need. Some of you, you can't take notes and listen at the same time. You can't take notes and listen at the same time. So maybe what you need to do is listen in class and then come take notes later. That's a very common problem. And then some of you, maybe you need to see it. Maybe you need to see it in color. I'll work problems and I'll use color to help accentuate certain points or to separate, certain key vocabulary words or whatnot. And then finally, one thing you need to hear and see at the same time. What I will almost always do, is I will talk and write at the same time. So your visual and your visual sensations and your auditory sensations will be coming through at the same time. And most people are either video or visual learners or auditory learners. There are kinesthetic learners, and what I would encourage you to do while you're watching me talk and teach is to take notes. Just scribble notes, scribble pictures, work your problems with your hand as you kind of work through the problems. And what it will do is while it's not a perfectly kinesthetic approach, it will get your hands involved in your learning and get them engaged as you're trying to make sense of what I'm teaching. So let me go back and let's see if we can just look at some of these problems. And we're going to switch over to, we're going to switch over to a different screen. And this screen is the screen that is the lesson. So these are the pages from Engage New York. And let me just show you, and maybe you'll say, oh yeah, I see what you're talking about, Mr. Lipscomb. So first of all, there are no work examples. Notice that this is very common, that you'll see some explanation that's written in some general formula, algebraic formula, like this is how to multiply 2 numbers in exponential form, but you'll see this algebraic notation, and down here in exercise 1, we're just going to start working problems. But there's no example that tells you how to answer this problem. If you can't understand this formula and know how to immediately apply it, you can't see how to do it. And so what I'll do is I'll work an example like 14 to the 23rd times 14 to the 8th. I'll work that example and it'll be visible to you so you can see it and hear it, how to do it. 2, there's no steps. There's no written step for working the problems. Well, here we have an algebra, again, very similar to what I just said about a worked example. Here is a description, a formula for how you get the answer, but it doesn't give you the steps. It doesn't spell it out 1, 2, 3 if you don't understand how to read this notation. Number 3, the third point was maybe you have difficulty connecting what you learn in the lesson to the problem. So watch this. So we do all these problems in lesson 2. Your teacher teaches you how to do all these problems, how to multiply all these numbers in exponential form, and you're really good at it. Oh, maybe you extend it and you start to connect it to the distributive formula or distributive rule. Okay, good, good. And now we're doing it with fractions, and we're doing it with division. And then we do it with division. Wow, fractions with, woo, crazy stuff. And we keep working some more exercises. And then the problems get a little harder. It tells you a little bit about how to use a calculator. And then bam, a problem set. What is this? We have a problem where now we have a table. We have all these words. We have the bounce, the computation of distance, and when did we start talking about distance and bounces and stuff? So what I will do in my lessons is I'll say, hey, on the homework, there's going to be a table where we're going to have to, take some of this information that we incorporate, some of these procedures that we learned how to use, and we're going to have to put those to use in a word problem. And what I'll do is I'll develop a word problem that's kind of like this one. I'm not going to give you the answer to this problem, but I'm going to get you prepared for doing this problem so that you don't just look at this problem set. Look at this here. Let's look at problem 5. We talk about rectangular areas of land being sold off in smaller pieces. We talk about dimensions of a rectangle. This can be very daunting to a student in 7th or 8th grade if you haven't seen, or in 8th grade, especially in 8th grade and in middle school, if you haven't seen these problems during that day in math class. So these are the problems that I'm trying to solve in these videos. Again, I'm going to try and help you understand the day's lesson, give you work examples, give you the notes in a sense that you may not have taken in class, and then help you connect what you learned in class to the homework. And we're going to do this lesson by lesson, day by day, for every single, we're going to start with 8th grade and go through every lesson across the 8th grade year, and then provide some help. Your job is to tell me if I'm doing a good job. So in the YouTube video or on the YouTube page, please ask me questions, point out problems that you have. Say, hey, Mr. Lipscomb, at minute 4, 32 seconds, I didn't quite understand what you were teaching me, and I can hopefully clarify what I've taught. Or you can say, oh, Mr. Lipscomb, I have this other example. My teacher did this other example in class. Can you help explain to me how I might have solved this one? Or Mr. Lipscomb, the steps really weren't clear. Can you give me a few extra steps for step 3? I didn't get it. Or Mr. Lipscomb, today's video was wonderful. It helped me. I love your videos, and just keep doing great stuff. Any of that stuff will work. Please connect with me. Let me know how you're doing. And good luck in 8th grade math. Hopefully I can be of service. Oh, wait, sometimes I like to, let's see. Sometimes some people like to put on glasses and get some sound effects. Thank you. You're welcome. We'll see you in math class. At least give lesson 8 in 1, lesson 1 a go, and then 8 in 1, lesson 2, lesson 3. And if it doesn't work for you, just sign off. Don't use this stuff anymore. But if it does work for you or could work for you, please keep watching and let me know what I could do better.